Well, the World Economic Forum gets underway against the backdrop of ongoing negotiations for a new ceasefire and the release of hostages. It comes one day after Hamas said it was studying the terms of a counterproposal put forward by Israel for a new truce. The militants also on Saturday released a video of two American Israeli abductees held in Gaza. It sparked new hope for their families who are calling for their freedom with protests in Tel Aviv. For more, let's head to London to speak to Tahani Mustafa, a senior Palestine analyst at the International Crisis Group. Thanks so much for joining us on the programme, Tahani. So the video that Hamas released yesterday of two American Israeli hostages has given hope to people who are waiting for their loved ones to come home. What's the significance of the publication of this video?
Well, I think it's a clear indication that contrary to suspicions that hostages are still alive and safe, and ultimately Hamas still has a viable bargaining chip in their hands.
And let's turn to the World Economic Forum summit that's underway in Riyadh. There has been the Palestinian president, Mahmud Abbas, who's warned that an operation in Rafah would be the biggest disaster in the history of the Palestinian people. Give us your thoughts on that.
I think many were already predicting that that would be a complete humanitarian disaster, given that over the last 7 months, Palestinians have been pushed into smaller and smaller patches of territory within the south of Gaza. Rafah has become, one of those territories where it's now hosting something like over 1.4 million Palestinians. But unfortunately, Israel hasn't left a single patch within the Gaza Strip, neither the north or the south, completely untouched. The south has been subject to aerial bombardments, including Rafah. Just yesterday we saw that Israel had managed to destroy, a food aid camp. So ultimately, what you're talking about is 1.4 million lives. Ultimately, Mahmud Abbas is really pointing out the obvious here, which is what many have been warning about in terms of the catastrophic consequences if this invasion were to go ahead. The question isn't actually if now, the question is when.
Well, with the sobering assessment that Abbas delivered today, he also said that Washington is the only country that can dissuade Israel from going through with the invasion. What's it going to take for the US to get Netanyahu to abandon the plans, do you think?
Well, look, ultimately, in order to get Israel to abandon its plans with this impending invasion is for the West, and especially the US, to rethink its position vis-a-vis Israel. So far, we haven't seen the US put any red lines on Israel. It has refuted all evidence pointing to the fact that Israel has been conducting what would be considered to be international war crimes. Ultimately, the US has been pivotal in providing the diplomatic cover for Israel's ongoing campaign in Gaza. And worse yet, it is refusing to stop supplying the logistics for Israel to go ahead with its invasion. After the last Iran-Israel cross-border skirmish, we saw the potential of the US effectively exchanging the lives of Palestinians over a regional conflict, right, where the deal was that Israel could get the go-ahead to go into Rafah in exchange for not escalating its conflict with Iran. The US has really done very little, if anything, to really to hold back Israel's actions when it comes to this impending invasion. We're really dealing with the realm of irrationality, I think.
Tahani Mustafa, senior Palestine analyst at the International Crisis Group. Thank you so much for your analysis.